to sculpt thousands of children's lives. As I see, you're third in line in the parenting role. In fact, child who is in the fourth, fifth standard actually feels that you're better than the mother and father. Many mothers have heard, Amma, you don't know anything. I will ask Sandhya teacher. She will tell you. If you have doubt, you talk to her. And I fondly remember Mrs. Lal. When I was in LKG, Mrs. Lal she was the wife of an army person. She used to be dressed so beautifully, gracefully. She would have a big pink lipstick on her face, making her even more beautiful. And she will take me into her hands and ask me very simple questions which I am not able to forget. What really nourished was those moments of connection, that love. But when it comes to timetables, assignments, all these, school-based things, we have to complete everything in time. And then we have to deal with people. See, it's very easy to deal with even God. My guru used to tell me, it's so easy to know God. It's so difficult to know the mind of people. And as a teacher, you are a perfect example of something like a burger. You are in the middle and there is everybody around you wanting to eat into you. Everybody wants a chunk of you. Nobody realizes that you are a person. So what we want to do is we want to help you to honor the person that you are and nourish the person that you are. Because when you nourish yourself, all the people who are trying to get a bite of the burger will get a better bite. So, what yoga says is, this world cannot be changed. This world includes people. So, your husband, your wife, your son, your daughter, your principal, your colleagues, your school watchman, your school driver, the ayahs, the akkas, the help, the students, all the people, your relatives, friends, you don't have the power to even scratch on the surface of anybody. You can't really do anything with people. They will not change whatever you say. You may be able to force them to behave in a particular way that will be a natural and temporary, and they will go back to their nature moment the leash is removed. So you really don't have any power over people. This is what yoga says. And you don't have any power over situations. Situation like we are all sitting like this, looking into one screen and attending such an inspiring session. I would have loved to meet each and every one of you in blood and flesh. Look into your eyes, hold your hands and speak this thing. Guide you through, but we are sitting in front of a screen. So we actually don't have any power over the situations that are coming to us in our life. That is the reality. I remember in the 2015 or 2016 when the floods came in Chennai, I took a tricycle with food and I went to Balamandir in Tinagar. Balamandir is an orphanage. So I went to Balamandir in Tinagar to offer food to those children. Actually, I had to swim with the food basket above me. I was in the water was up to here. We couldn't walk with the food, so I had to actually keep the basket in my hand, swim in the water, and go into the building and give the food. Now, point I'm making is not that. After that, when I came back to the tricycle, when I walked through the prestigious Bog Road, you know Bog Road? It has the house of the great Shivaji Ganeshan and all that. That is Bog Road. The great residency tower is there, that corner building. So just behind that, there were 5 to 10 cars. 4 of them were Benz, one was Jogger, another was Audi, all biggest brands, 60 lakhs, 90 lakhs cars were there. Only my tricycle was working. Situation is very powerful. We don't have actually any capacity to change it. And objects. We don't have actually any capacity to change an object. When we try to change an object like genetically modified vegetables, fruits, flowers that they are trying to bring now, when they try to, put their hand into changing something, nature comes back and says, sit quietly inside the house. You eat what is given to you. We actually don't have any control. This is what yoga says. Now, in spite of this, are we all happy for the last 10 minutes now? This is what yoga teaches us. We can be the most creative, the most resourceful person in spite of a bugging spouse, in spite of an impertinent student, in spite of a ruthless management, in spite of a stupid government, in spite of everything, it is your responsibility to be happy. Just because you're not having this or not having that, if you are not happy, is anybody going to care for you in this world? Look at the way bodies are thrown. They say in New York, for the last 1 year in cold storage, thousands and thousands of bodies have been stored. It's not come in the media, that's all. I think the Indian media is very open-minded. It says everything out. American media is kept quiet. Bodies are waiting. They don't know what to do with that many bodies. So in spite of everything, how we can be happy when we are a contributor. In spite of everybody being whoever they are, if you are a contributor, whatever other person is doing, you will be happy. Now you may ask, when everybody is bad, why do you want me to be contributor? Right, no? Politician is bad, neighbor is bad, driver is bad, automan is bad, government officials are bad, doctors are bad, nurses are bad, engineers are bad, weather is bad. Everything is bad. Why I alone should be like this? Any of you want to ask, right?
But as you said, I think it is about us being happy.
Happy,
First,
exactly. So you have to be happy. That's the theme. That's the theme. I mean, everybody, you try your best to change one person in your life. Swami Vivekananda used to tell a story about a man who was gifted with a genie by some sadhu. The sadhu warned him. He said, "Don't ask for this thing. You can't manage this." And man compelled the sadhu. He said, "Please, please don't. So don't say like this. Give me, give me, give me." He pestered, henpecked, and the sadhu said, "Okay, I will give you a genie. Only thing is, you have to keep giving the genie a job. The moment you can't give the genie a job, what you do? Be ready to be eaten by it." So he thought, okay, what is the big problem? I am a bigger demon than any genie, so I will manage. So he got the genie and he said, "You construct a big country for me." Country is ready, master. Okay, you bring all the rains. Always there should be water flowing through my country. It's ready, master. There is no gap between what this man is asking and what the genie is giving. Continuously, it is happening. And after some time, this man is exhausted of asking for anything. Now the genie says, "Master, give me job. Master, master." So he doesn't know what to do, and then the genie says, "Master, this is last warning. If you don't give me job, from next second, time starts for me to eat you." He runs back to that sadhu. Yes, Bhagavan, please help me. This genie is going to eat me off. Somebody wants to ask me something?
No, you please continue.
So he said, "I told you in the beginning, you didn't listen to me." He says, "All that is fine. Now I don't want to be eaten. I will listen to you. Once first you save me, then only I can listen to you." He says, "Okay, you bring one dog. I will ask him to wait till you bring a dog." So he goes and brings a nice dog. And he says, the sadhu says, "Bring the dog that has a nice, winding tail." You know the rest of the story, no? And the genie was given the job of straightening the dog's tail. It will straighten the tail, take the hand off, it will come back. The genie was busy doing that. And whenever this man wanted some job to be done, he will say, "Leave the dog, come here. I want to give you a job." The genie will come, he will give a job, the genie will finish it, then he'll say, "Go straighten the dog's tail." We have a mind which wants to be unhappy. We have a mind that believes that things are not okay. The reason is not any mistake. The reason is the mind is created in such a way that you will not fall prey for some situation. If somebody comes and tells you they want to con you, tell you stories and take away all your money, can you believe them? You can't believe people. You can't believe situations. You can't believe objects. This is the basic construct of your mind, of my mind, of any humans. And to support that, inside the brain, there is a portion called as the amygdala. The job of the amygdala is to not accept anything that comes. It says, "No, this is not known to me. This is not acceptable." That is why advertisements, they keep on telling the same thing. When you see the advertisement the 1005th time, amygdala sees it and says, "Yeah, I've seen this. This seems to be correct." So you buy this water purifier, it has got copper. You will also buy and drink. That is how mind is conditioned. Now what yoga says is, irrespective of how your situation is, how people are, instead of trying to change everything around you, you focus on empowering yourself. You be strong. If a slap is what will be the right thing to do, give the slap. Yoga doesn't say be calm, be patient, don't do any harmful. It doesn't say anything like that. Yoga says have common sense. If you have to shout at someone, if you have to use a strong language, if you have to beg, do what is appropriate so that the balance is not lost. Inside you, you cannot lose your balance just because somebody is somehow. And when you allow it, if I ask you to make a list of people with whom you are actually angry, you will have a list of 1%, 3, 5, 10, or should I become Mahi Ravana? You know Mahi Ravana? Mahi Ravana is a mythological character who has got 1,000 hands. So how many fingers? Each person.
Sir, I really liked the way you said slapped, because here I remember one talk from Ramakrishna Dev happening with Vivekananda. So Vivekananda is asking ki when suppose we are doing a yogic practice and one snake comes, what should you do? You should be, inside you'll be calm. Can it be possible? Then Ramakrishna said, no, you don't need to be. Because like you say, use your common sense. So what should you do instead of sitting there and say, Om Narayana, you have to run. You have two legs. You just run. So it's so much reassuring, whatever you said here, that use your common sense. It's not only that thing that you just keep sitting peacefully and calmness will prevail on you when a venomous snake is just next to you. Thank you, sir.
The Indian system of thought does not say that we have to be passive acceptors of all abuses in life. No, you don't have to be. So the biggest problem, but is that we lose common sense. Common sense is affected when you are not healthy. Let's say you got hip pain or migraine headache or back pain, and I am your student, and I come and pester you. Sangeeta ma'am, is this correct? Is this correct? What will you do? 2 times you will say, Beta, theek hai. We will look at it tomorrow. Okay? Then I won't leave you. Ma'am. No, ma'am. Please, ma'am. No, ma'am. What will happen? How much time will you be able to hold on to that mask that you're holding? See, the masks will not help. But if you're very strong inside, you may even tell the child, hey, go, we'll meet tomorrow at 10 a.m. It will just work. The child will wait. He will come tomorrow at 10 a.m. All you have is you have a headache and you want to be free. So common sense is hijacked when you are not fit and healthy. That is the first culprit. How many of you are fit and healthy? Those of you who are fit and healthy, give me a big smile. Others can stonewall me. You know what stonewalling is? You might have faced that with your students many times. You explain something and they will. They will freeze in time, right? So how many of you are fit? Those who are fit, give me a big smile. Others can stonewall me. Because next thing I'm going to do is do a test. Yeah, Ina is stonewalling me.
Sir, we have a question in our chat box. Our beloved colleague has written that it is hard to be happy when circumstances are difficult. Like, given the situation now, how much ever the happiness is inside, but still, like the things are not, I mean, it requires a lot of resilience, or how will you describe it, explain it rather?
Correct. See, the problem we have is the meaning of our happiness is very different from the meaning of happiness that yoga has. We feel happiness means there has to be a bucket popcorn and one 25-liter, I don't know what to call that, of Coca-Cola, and an infinity screen, and legs stretched out, and this side one Korean girl giving foot reflexology, that side one Japanese man giving some bulb massage or whatever they call it. Our idea of happiness is very peculiar. Just now, few moments back, when you just observed yourself and became calm, you became so happy. But did you realize that the moment you became happy, I asked you to bless the whole world? Happiness does not mean that you have to be personally enjoying something. Happiness can be manifested as giving. That's why I use the word contributor. When you become happy, you will be in a position to contribute. For example, our Satyananda Yoga Center, we have started a COVID hospital in Kadalur. One of our students is a doctor who is a surgeon. It's a small facility which can have about 15 to 20 beds. He uses it not for any other purpose other than surgery. He is basically a neurosurgeon, pediatric neurosurgeon. Pediatric neurosurgery isn't happening, it's elective. People are not coming with those issues now, people are dying. So he spoke to me and I said, why don't you start a COVID hospital? And he told me the collector has requested me only yesterday, sir, that we need more beds in Kadalur because people are not getting support. So we started a COVID hospital. And the stories of seva that are happening every day, and how sitting in Chennai, all of us are able to make small contribution to an unknown phase in Kadalur. This is real happiness. Having done that, if I die today, I will feel that I did something wonderful today. So it's okay if I die today. I will not die with a pensive mind. Happiness has to be redefined. We have made it very sensorial and very selfish. I do not want to make this program sound very spiritual and all. Let me bring it back to basics. So I'm going to give you a test now. So, except for one or two of you, I think I'm older than many of you. I can reveal my age. I don't have a problem. I don't want to ask any girl here, woman here about your age. Okay?
No problem, sir. Age is just a number.
I'm just trying to keep it as light as possible. So, I'm 53 years old and I'm going to demonstrate one very simple practice which you can see. I'll go a little behind and show it. And in that final position, I will be smiling. But I cannot actually show my face to you from there. So I'm telling you now itself. Okay? I will be smiling. Where we will see whether you are able to try the posture, get to the posture, and after that also.
Mine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. So, what I'm asking you to do, are you able to see me now?
Yes. Yes.
Better. So, what I'm asking you to do is keep your legs together, raise your hands up, bend forward like this, and place your palms on the floor and smile. If possible, you can take your head towards the knee.
Sure.
Let's try this out.
Sure. Let's do it.
Try. So go find a place in a corner. I don't have to see you doing it, but you can try. Keep your legs together, raise your hands up, and just gently bend forward. See if you're able to touch the floor without bending the knees. And then come back and sit down. गपशप करते करते हुए 40 मिनट हो गया.
So finally, are we passing?
No, you have to tell me whether you are able to keep your palm
Yes.
on the floor.
Yeah.
How many of you were
Yeah.
able to keep the palm on the floor?
Not this portion.
This
But
is called the
still
palm.
this portion.
Hello. No. You will pass only if you get 40 marks. This is called the palm.
First I could do, but the second time again I tried, then it didn't happen. But
No, but the important thing is not
It was
that.
good.
The important thing is when you try touching the floor, did you realize that some portions in your body were actually paining or feeling a stretch? I'm sure all of you were able to see the floor. You didn't have any. Yeah.
Sure.
Once I did this program for Tamil Nadu police, many of them could not see the floor. They said, "Sir, we know floor is there, sir. You tell something else, sir." Yeah. So, what we have to understand when we bend forward, those locations where we felt that pain or stretch, why do you feel that?
It's tight.
I thought Vijana was looking up and something is written there.
No, I was thinking. That
I
was
know.
thinking mode.
Because the muscles
I
are tight.
think those muscles.
Yeah, muscles are tight. Very good. Actually,
I think those muscles are not activated.
yes. See, actually, those muscles have actually shortened. They are not in their normal length. And when they shorten like that, the blood vessels inside there, the nerves that are inside there, and if there are any organs around that muscle, all of them, they become unhealthy. You may feel it here, you may feel it in the abdomen, you may feel it in the back, you may feel it in the neck, you may feel it in the calf muscle. Different places you might have felt it. This was just for you to do an introspection. Am I healthy? When you were a child, when you were asked to bend forward and touch the floor, did you touch the floor like you touch now with the... No. Are you a strong person now? Physically?
Can you define what you mean by strong?
I am saying you were a very strong person as a baby. We'll try something again.
Yes.
So lie down on your back. As a child, you've done this a lot. It was not alien to you. Okay? Lie down on your back. Now you can raise both your legs and both the hands and start doing circles with both the legs and both the hands in whichever direction you want. And you can lift your head up and look at all the sides. And you can look at me also on the screen, give me a smile, give me a gurgle, call me out. Keep on doing like this. You don't remember at all what you were doing as a child, You were moving your hands and legs in all the directions. I will just go make a coffee and come back. You continue to do it. Okay? I'll come back in 1 or 2 minutes. It'll take very short time for me to make coffee. So you keep doing it. Why are you getting up, Sandhya Ma? Lie down, do it. Very good. Don't stop. Keep doing. Don't be mechanical, be creative. If somebody walks past you, look at them, smile at them, call them out. Enjoy this thing. You have done this as a baby, don't you remember? How long can you do it? 1 hour? 2 hours? If I let you to do it till the end of the session, then you will curse your school.
No, I am back.
Do you realize how strong you were?
But enjoyed it. Really lovely.
There's a very common scene where a tired parent with a bowl of food dragging behind a darting child, begging the child, please eat. Haven't we seen it? Why is it that the adult is so tired? He's just giving one bowl of meal. What is the problem? And how much energy the child is having. As a child, you had so much energy. But if I ask you to do the same activity which you did for 2 years, you're saying, I am done. Thank you, Baba. What is the problem? Why you're not having energy?
I think we have a lot of things going on in our head at every point of time. As a child, I don't think it was mostly eating, sleeping, looking at your mom. Those were the things that might have been in our mind.
Yes.
And Nancy is also adding stress.
Yes.
I think we waste our positive energy or whatever good energy in thinking trash and doing things, and thereby we actually miss out that beginning part of our birth, when, as you were saying, the 2 years old child, it is so vibrant with that pure positive energy. Nothing is going the trash in his head. So half of the life we waste that way.
Yoga teaches us to have the energy like a child. In the last 15 to 18 years, I have not needed to feel or think or say that let's do this tomorrow, I'm tired. I have not had the opportunity to feel tired in the last 15 to 18 years. Are you able to believe this? I know you're stonewalling me.
I think we are completely in the other end of it right now.
No, the simple thing is, it happens when you breathe properly. The child breathes properly. And as you rightly said, when we have thoughts, trapped, unwanted stuff in the mind, The first thing that gets affected is breathing. Can you breathe normally and shout at someone? Breathe slowly, breathe in, breathe out, and keep shouting at someone. It's not possible. I'm going to kill you. It's not possible. The moment you are angry, first thing that gets affected is your breathing. The moment you're sad, first thing that gets affected is your breathing. Let's say somebody is depressed, they lost somebody, they lost something, the dog is dead, they are actually grieving over it. Next week they will buy one more dog and be happy again. That's a different story. Now they are depressed and you go tell them, don't worry, all will be well. What will they say? They will look at you, melancholic look, and they'll say, you need a dog to know what love is. So that moment, when you're trying to get them out of their depression, you'll find that they are not actually breathing. They have suspended breath and then they suddenly have a staggered inhalation and a heavy breathe out. This is what happens when a person is depressed. If a person is filled with fear, breathing is the first thing that gets affected. There is a close connection between how your mind is and how you're breathing. And your age minus 8, let's say your age is 53, you put minus 8. 43 years of burden is sitting there in the mind. So I asked you earlier, if you make a list of people you are angry with, that list is over or still going in the background of the mind? Each person you are angry with, a small portion of your lung is getting affected. Each person you are irritated about, a small portion of your lung is getting disturbed. You may be angry with someone, you may be even able to destroy them after 20 years, but you have already destroyed yourself now. Anger, fear, jealousy, irritation, whatever it is, every negative emotion. Now, earlier when we did the meditation, when I asked you to expand to the whole country and feel good about the whole nation, did you realize your whole breathing had gone through some change? You didn't realize, but when your mind expanded, it has an impact on breath. When your mind constricts, it has an impact on breath. And through breath, it has an impact on the heart. It has an impact on the blood vessels. It has an impact on the organs. The stomach does not digest properly. If somebody is very sad, and if they like kaju pakoras, and when they are very sad, you take kaju pakoras and go and give it to them, what will they do? They won't relish it. They'll say, they will not be able to appreciate what they like the most. Why? Because appetite is not going to work when the mind is disturbed. There is a close connection between these two, the mind and the breath. So if you're fit, we teach you yoga practices, you learn them and you do them every day and you become very fit. You're able to even place the head on the floor standing. But you're having all kinds of fears, irritations, anger, jealousy, everything in the mind. The whole plot is lost. This is irrespective of how others will behave. You have to remember that. We need to empower ourselves. That means we need to ensure that we are fit, flexible, strong, energetic, powerful, and have endurance. That power should not be for only 5 minutes. It should be for a sustained length of time. This is physical. Then have a high level of energy. If your breathing is all right, your energy will be all right. Without a good breathing, you can't have enthusiasm in your life. And when enthusiasm is not there, who is the child of enthusiasm? Enthusiasm is the mother of creativity. You need tremendous amount of enthusiasm. When you were a child, you had it. First time when you fell down, second time you tried it another way. Second time when you fell down, third time you tried it another way. Third time when you fell down, 3000th time when you fell down, 3001th time you tried another way. That was the level of enthusiasm. Not that Rama had, you had. It's not some mythological story we are talking about. We are talking about you. You have actually lost yourself somewhere. And yoga helps you to discover you for yourself. So when you have a proper breathing, you will get so much energy that you will be a bundle of enthusiasm. If a child comes and asks you, he will feel that hereafter I should never ask this person question. They are not leaving me without me understanding. So much energy will be there. Look at Tasya Joseph's doggy. So much energy, my God, look at that. And he or she will have the same energy next time she meets her also. He will have even more energy if he is sent out of the room. After 5 minutes, if he is allowed to come inside, he will have more energy. Again, he comes back after another 1 hour, he will behave to Tasya as though the first time he is meeting Tasya in life. How much enthusiasm! So we need to learn to breathe properly. So one thing we need to do is make ourselves fit. Ensure that the muscles are strong, flexible, they have endurance, they have strength, and then breathe properly. Nice. Many of you are women here. Out of the 22 participants, only very few men are there. I am part of the minority. And healthy women, can breathe up to 4.5 liters air in one inhalation. So inhale 4.5 liters now. Let me see how you inhale 4.5 liters. Inhale. Nice deep inhalation. Nandini ma, one nice deep inhalation. Let me see. This looks like you are in ICU and you are going to pass off.
That 4.5 liters made us think how much of it is actually going.
Half liter is what is going.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show to you, when you breathe properly, how it looks like. All of you know this, just that I have to do this because it's a session. All of you know it. Again, I'm going to go back to this place. I'm going to lie down. Doesn't this look like I am in an ICU and you're seeing me through a small window? Looks like that, okay? Except we forget that this beautiful scene over here. Imagine that this is the IV fluid bottle and all that. Imagine it. And now I'll do what Nandini might do. How does it look like?
Your chest
Breathing,
is right. Yeah.
breathing into the chest, it looks like I'm gasping for
Breath.
breath. This is the scene we are seeing in TV with a mask, everybody doing like this. This is wrong breathing. Now I want to demonstrate to you what is right. This is one breath. I'll do one more time. That is just one breath. I did 2 times. Did you observe that my abdomen was rising up as I was breathing in? You also do it every day. Do you know that? All of you do this every day. Do you know when?
When we sleep.
Exactly. Only when you sleep. So what happens when you sleep?
You let go of everything and your mind just takes over and you're very relaxed and it is an automatic response which makes you feel totally at ease.
Yeah. To put it simply, you don't remember you are you.
You're almost like a dead body.
Yeah. When you remember you are you, who is that you? It has all the burdens of 40 plus years that is being held inside. And that affects the breathing. Because every emotion affects the breathing. When so much burden is there, obviously breathing will be affected. The beauty is when you do just 10 minutes of breathing, you don't do just breathing, you also work upon the type of thoughts you have. Because earlier when you did the meditation, how did you feel in your mind? Did you feel very calm, very relaxed, peaceful? That correlation between how the mind is and the breath is a very powerful tool that yoga uses. So by adjusting, by correcting, by improving breath, you can improve your mind. And the third and last important thing that I will tell all of you is you need to learn how to wash your mind, renew it. See, all of you are wearing a dress and attending this program. Let's say evening you have a online meeting, official meeting where all the parents are all going to come. Will you go back for that meeting in the same dress? You won't, right? Okay, you will change dress and all that is fine. This dress, will you safely fold it and keep it in the cupboard? You will wash it, right? Because you have used it, before using it again, you wash your dress. Because you use your plate to eat, before using it again, what do? You wash it. Have you ever washed your mind? That is our problem. And that is the cause for disease. Be it cancer, be it rheumatoid arthritis, be it migraine headache, be it asthma, be it heart attack. Do you know cholesterol is not the cause for heart attack? We are all made to believe that cholesterol is the cause for heart attack. Lot of research has been done all over the world. There are certain communities where they eat cheese and drink wine every day. Whether they eat bread or not, they don't care. They will eat cheese and they will drink wine. And in those communities, they didn't have heart problems at all. No death was there because they were basically calm, happy people. When we are filled with paranoia, we don't need any cholesterol to kill us. Paranoia will kill us. So we need to learn how to wash the mind every day, like how we wash our dress, like how we wash our plate, like how we clean our house, like how we wash our car. I mean, we have the common sense to do it to everything outside us. You know what I'm implying, right? So yoga teaches a method through which you can completely cleanse yourself from within. And we will finish today's session with that practice, because you have to do some practice, no? Otherwise, it's just a gupshup session.
Very enriching gupshup.
Yeah, this is called satsanga. This gupshup is called satsanga. Good. So I'm going to guide you through a simple practice. The practice was developed by my guru's guru, Swami Satyananda Saraswati. This person is there. I'll show you a bigger picture so you can see this individual. He is Swami Satyananda Saraswati, and he is the founder of the Bihar School of Yoga. So he developed this practice called as Yoga Nidra. Okay. So I'm going to take you through that practice. We will be doing a 10-minute practice. During this 10-minute, I will be asking you to lie down. And I will go on saying something or the other. Even if you don't understand what I'm saying, let's say I'm talking suddenly in Konkani, what will you do? Unless you're a Konkani, you will not understand what I'm saying. So don't bother about understanding what I'm saying, but just keep hearing my voice. For example, if I tell you, become aware of your right hand thumb, is it very intellectual process that you have to think a lot and understand? So there is no need for thinking at all in this entire practice. You will just hear the instruction and follow it. So the practice will take you through certain things. Whatever I am suggesting, you will follow those instructions. And a 10-minute practice can make you feel as if you slept for 8 hours. So this can be done in the middle of the day after the first half of the day is over. In many schools, when we conducted programs for those schools, we convinced the management that they should give 10 minutes time, which somehow it has to be planned. It is possible that during school, in the school itself, there is a small room where teachers can go plug themselves to the instruction, lie down for 10 minutes. When they come back, they'll come back smiling. From this to this, full smile. The school itself will be different. The home itself, see, when you come back home, normally how do you come back home? I mean, now you're not leaving home and your children are very upset about it. That's a different story. So from here to here, will you be smiling? When your husband or your wife comes back from their work, at least they will be smiling. The children, at least they will be smiling. I mean, if nobody is smiling in that house, it should only be called as a house. It cannot be called a home. I mean, you have to smile. Many days I go on the road, when I stop in a signal, let's say I bump into you, Hina. Hina is sitting in the next car, I am in this car. I turn and look at Hina and I give her a big smile. Fine. And you know what? Why is this man smiling at me? That is how the reaction is. People have forgotten that they can just smile. They give a look like they have seen a weirdo. At least on the road it's fine. In the home, if you can't smile at each other, if you can't enjoy the company of people, if you've reduced the scope of joy, I am happy only with myself, means then how you will be happy in life? In spite of everybody, the smile should not be lost. The smile should not be a mask. It should be from your heart. That is possible only when you do something like a yoga nidra. Today, whole day, I am telling you, you will keep on smiling. Okay.
Looking forward to it. Should we keep an alarm or something? We'll go into a big nidra, no, right?
That is possible. That is quite
Doubtful. That's a
that is quite possible, because in schools also we've had opportunities to wake up boys. Plus two boys, their most favorite practice was yoga nidra. In this school, imagine in this school, as part of the curriculum, if there is an official time when he can lie down, I mean, luxury, I'm telling you. And many times after the class is over, he'll still be there. He'll pretend to sleep actually. He'll say, "Sir, I'm sleeping." So let's try this out. Please lie down comfortably. Keep your legs apart. Keep your hands by the side of the body, slightly away from the body. Palms of the hands facing the ceiling, facing upward. Eyes gently closed. Observe your body and see if you are comfortable and okay. And if necessary, please do adjustments that will make you feel more and more at ease and comfortable. Become aware of the whole body from the top of the head to the toes. Become aware of the whole body from the top of the head to the tip of the toes. Ensure that you are not holding any part of your body tightly. Ensure that the whole body is free from any type of stiffness. Let go of the fingers, hands, arms, shoulders, back, hip, front, legs, feet. Let go of the whole body from the top of the head to the tip of the toes. The whole body from the top of the head to the tip of the toes is totally free from any kind of stiffness. Now start observing the point of contact between body and the floor. Certain parts of your body alone are touching the floor. Try to take your awareness from one part to another part. Become aware of the different parts of the body in contact with the floor. Head on the floor, shoulders on the floor, hands on the floor, back on the floor, buttocks on the floor, thighs on the floor, calf muscles on the floor, heels on the floor. Become aware of the whole body in contact with the floor. Become aware of the whole body lying on the floor without any movement, and feel the body sinking down into the floor. Intensify your awareness of the sense of touch between body and floor, and feel the whole body sinking down into the floor. Feel the whole body sinking down into the floor. Feel the heaviness of the whole body. Feel the heaviness of the whole body. Feel the heaviness of the right leg, heaviness of the left leg, heaviness of the right hand, heaviness of the left hand, heaviness of the whole trunk, heaviness of the head. Feel the heaviness of the whole body from the top of the head to the tip of the toes. Feel the heaviness of the whole body. The body feels so heavy. You feel as if your body is sinking down and down into the floor. Feel the whole body sinking down and down into the floor. Now, leave the awareness of the body and floor and mentally visualize the room in which the body is lying, the floor, the four walls, the ceiling, the doors and windows of the room, the pictures and upholstery, the furniture. Mentally visualize the entire room. And visualize your body lying on the floor without any movement. Say to yourself mentally, I am practicing Yoga Nidra. I will not sleep. I am practicing Yoga Nidra. I will not sleep. I am aware. I hear the voice of Shiva Rishi. This is the only important thing during Yoga Nidra, hearing the voice and following it mentally. Now I'm going to call out names of body parts one after another. As I call out the name of a body part, you will quickly repeat the name mentally, and simultaneously you will feel the part mentally. For example, if I say right hand thumb, you will say mentally right hand thumb and feel the right hand thumb. Become aware of your right hand thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, thumb and fingers of right hand, right palm, back of the palm, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit, side, waist, hip, thigh, knee, calf muscle, ankle, heel, sole of the right foot, top of the right foot, right toes, big toe, second toe, third toe. Now become aware of the left hand thumb. Left hand thumb. No sleeping, please. No movements, please. Go on hearing the instruction and follow mentally. Left hand thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, thumb and fingers of left hand, left palm, back of the palm, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit, side, waist, hip, thigh, knee, calf muscle, ankle, heel, sole of the left foot, top of the left foot, left toes, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Now become aware of the back side of the body, back of the head, back of the neck, right shoulder blade, left shoulder blade, upper back, middle back, lower back, whole spine, right buttock, left buttock, back of right thigh, back of left thigh, right calf muscle, left calf muscle, right heel, left heel, the whole back side of the body, the whole back side of the body. Now the front, top of the head, forehead, right eyebrow, left eyebrow, eyebrow center, right eyelids, left eyelids, right eye, right ear, left ear, right cheek, left cheek, right nostril, left nostril, tip of the nose, upper lip, lower lip, chin, throat, right collarbone, left collarbone, right chest, left chest, middle of the chest, whole chest, upper abdomen, navel, lower abdomen, whole abdomen, pelvic floor, right groin, left groin, front of right thigh, front of left thigh, right kneecap, left kneecap, front of right foot, front of left foot, the whole front side of the body, the whole front side of the body, the whole back side of the body, the whole right side of the body, the whole left side of the body, the whole 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 body. The whole body, go on, continue. No sleeping, no movements. The whole body, the whole body. You are deeply relaxed. The whole body is rested well. You're fully rejuvenated. Feel fresh and energetic. You are ready for a great day. You will be a contributor and happily contribute. Now we are coming to a close of this practice of Yoga Nidra. We are coming to a close of this practice of Yoga Nidra. Slowly externalize your awareness and become aware of the sounds present in this environment. Become aware of the different sounds you hear in your environment. Become aware of the body lying on the floor. Feel the body floor contact. Gently begin to move your fingers and toes. Gently begin to move your feet and your legs, your hands. Roll your head, your hands and legs from side to side. Slowly bring your legs together. Hands close to the body. Slowly turn to the left side. And slowly come to sitting position with eyes closed. Please come to sitting position with eyes closed. The practice of this Yoga Nidra is over now. Please come to sitting position with your eyes closed and observe how you feel. And then gently open your eyes. Thank you. So this is all I wanted to present to you. Please find a good teacher and learn yoga and invest. I'm happy to know that some of you have been already regular practitioners of yoga. I really congratulate those who have been practicing for a while. I urge all of you to invest some time every day and relax, rejuvenate yourself, and live an inspired life where you become a contributor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was so beautiful. Like we could have done, we can actually do more sessions like this. It's so much rejuvenating in this, but practically it's a very tough time, and yoga actually, keeps us moving. And as you say, we all